All right, so get this. A new survey by Bankrate tells us that social media could actually be hurting your finances. So how? Well, let me ask you, who are you comparing yourself to? And maybe more importantly, what is it about these people that makes you want to compare yourself to them?
That's hard.
So, yeah. So for all the good that social media has done in breaking down geographic barriers and helping us connect more as individuals, it has also made the net a lot wider as far as the type of people, right? The group of people that you can compare yourself to because you have just a lot more visibility. So this can be a difficult topic to kind of navigate. So, what we're going to do today is just really break it down and see what that means for you. So, that we love data, so we'll start there. But another thing that I was just thinking of is, this is kind of a big deal, right? We are kind of moving into video.
Yes.
So I just wanted to think.
We're joining social media on video.
yeah, exactly. It's just funny that we were talking about social media on the day that we were kind of making this big transition to video. So just want to thank all of our listeners who have been listening to us on audio, podcasts, and all of that. And now they get to actually see us. So.
Yes. And one thing I thought was interesting on this survey, it says 1 in 3, so 1/3, report feeling negatively about their own finances after seeing other people's posts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. And the thing is, in the survey, it states that people's feelings, right, what they experience, they ranged from anywhere from jealousy and inadequacy to shame and anger.
And then if you compare that to those that felt negatively about their physical appearance,
right, body image,
it was more.
Yeah.
So 32% said they felt negatively influenced about their physical appearance, whereas 33 1/3 felt negatively about their finances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just want to pause there for a second and let that sink in. So just the fact that scrolling through our social media feed can actually make us feel worse about our money than our physical appearance.
Yeah.
Right?
And I don't know that people focus on finance as much. I think people are aware that there are unrealistic expectations. I think when I was younger, before we had social media, people said, don't read beauty magazines. They'll only make you feel ugly, right?
No.
I think social media, we are aware of that, but I don't think we realize how it impacts our finances. So I think this is timely, even though it is a little challenging to think about for us.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's kind of like the hidden danger, right? Because I think by now most people are aware of the fact that there is such a thing as body shaming and just being a lot more conscious of that. So you see, like when you're walking through the mall now, I can see a big difference in the posters, right, and what they put up to have just a better display, I guess, of different body types, and make a lot more people feel welcome, feel adequate, and that kind of thing. But nobody talks about the finance side of things, right? And obviously it has just as strong, if not stronger, impact.
Yeah. And I think, historically we've talked about keeping up with the Joneses. Well, now the Joneses could be billionaires from some random place you've never even lived. And now you're comparing yourself to them. And is that even realistic to do? Right.
But the thing is, what's interesting to me is I was meeting with a client the other day, and it was this lady. She was talking to me about how whenever in her line of work, which she was doing, was working with a lot of people with a lot of money, right? And during that time, one of the people that she was working for was a financial advisor, and at a pretty well-known company. And so she asked him, okay, if I've got $5,000 to $10,000 that I can invest, right, what should I do? And can you, I guess, just this is just so mind-boggling to me. But can you believe that he told her, oh no, you need to have at least $100,000?
That's what people are hearing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, most places, if you want to get an advisor, you better have $100,000 to $250,000 to even get started. But let's be real. Without help, are you even ever going to get there? Most likely.
Right. Yeah.
So that does break my heart, though, because think about how demotivating that had to be for her to hear that. And I don't know. That's just not okay.
Yeah. So, but what I'm imagining is that what she heard in that moment, which discouraged her from reaching out for help for decades, right? How that could be going on every day on people's social media feeds, right? And again, just the discouragement that people are getting from scrolling through, and that being just a kind of a shameful experience rather than it being a motivator for them to seek out the help that they need.
Yes, and we've talked about how perception becomes reality for a lot of people. I was watching a post just the other day, and it was about influencers who've been caught lying.
Yeah.
And it showed like, here's the picture they posted this day, and then 2 days later, someone shot a photo of them at a location, and they look totally different. Yeah. And I thought, that is the epitome of social media. You give people your highlight reel, but you don't give them reality.
Right. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about is perception versus reality. And the fact is that when we're scrolling through our social media feed, most of what we see on social media is fake, right? So we, a lot of time, are letting imaginary things impact our reality.
Yes. I saw one where there was some sort of performer, I can't remember who it was, taking a photo in front of a jet, apparently, only it wasn't their jet. They were flying commercial. So there is a lot of this. I feel like, even me, when I'm taking a photo of something for social media, I'm going to, make sure the lighting's right. I'm going to make sure everything looks good. I'm going to clean up the background so nobody knows my kitchen's a hot mess, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We all do it. But then when we compare ourselves to others, we're not counting for that when it comes to the things they say they own. Do they own it, or are they up to their eyeballs in debt to get it? So
yeah, and this day and age with Photoshop and all of that, you don't even have to be in a fancy place. I mean, you can just Photoshop yourself in, right? It's like you could do it all from just
you could get in front of a beautiful TV screen and have yourself in New York City in 2 seconds flat.
Yeah. It's like, how do you know that this is actually what's in the background? But anyway, just to say that that should be present in our minds, right? As we're scrolling
as a filter.
Yeah, exactly. We can't look at everything through just rose-colored glasses and think that that's how the world is.
Yes. And when it comes to your finances, if you're feeling compelled to live a life that is not realistic for you, then you are putting your finances at risk by doing that. When you're going out and trying to, go to the clubs and go do all the things and own all the things, if you don't have the finances to support that, that can really hurt you long term.
Yeah. And so I think if we're honest with ourselves, right, and, we take a look at the stats, I think we would realize that maybe at the bottom of all of this, we comparing ourselves and all of that, there might be a deeper heart issue here to address, right? And could it be that the people that we choose to follow maybe reveal an area in our lives where we feel just a deep sense of inadequacy, for example, right? So those feelings that the people mentioned, inadequacy, shame, anger, jealousy, right? I think, a lot of times like those feelings could be pointing us to an area in ourselves that maybe it's difficult to face, right? But we maybe should address.
And some of those things may be attainable if you're just patient. Sometimes what we want, yes, we want it and it's okay, but we need to give ourselves time to get there. A lot of people think, Gen Wealth, for instance, they'll think, man, we're an overnight success. They've been around for 16 years on the radio, which means they've been around for longer than that. It was not an overnight success for John and Janet creating this company. It was years of busting their butts to get there.
No.
And many people in our country aren't planning for future. They're living paycheck to paycheck. In 2021, it was 52% of people living paycheck to paycheck in the United States. In 2022, the stats say it's 61%. So more people are living either just barely within their means or probably outside of their means.
Yeah. And I would venture to guess that is probably why so many people feel that shame and maybe jealousy and all of that whenever they're scrolling through their feeds, is because the stats tell us that almost 2 out of 3 people are living paycheck to paycheck. So I mean, if you're in that situation, I can just imagine that it can wear on you, right? Just feeling like, okay, life is just about getting to the next paycheck so we can pay the bills and continue to live, our lives, versus, what we see on social media, which is, people just relaxing on the beach, having fun, and living a very different lifestyle, right? So yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. So it might even be shocking, right? That
Mhm.
maybe not more people feel or have those feelings, right? Because if only 1 out of 3 is feeling those negative feelings, but almost 2 out of 3 people are living paycheck to paycheck, it's like, man,
Maybe they weren't all honest on
maybe they weren't
on that
honest,
stat either.
or maybe they're living in kind of some sort of dream world, right?
Mhm.
Where they haven't accepted that fact that, hey, you know, this is my reality, you know, this is what's going on, and maybe that would wake them up and take that next step.
And I think we've talked before about, finance is really about budgeting your priorities. So if it is your priority to be able to take a beach trip, then you're going to have to make cuts in other things to make that happen. That's really all we're talking about, is making sure that whatever you want is realistic, but also that your heart's in the right place, because it is important that you deal with whatever may be creating that if it's not a healthy thing. Like if you've got something from your past when it comes to your family's finances that you've not dealt with, it's going to continue to affect you in your life until you deal with the deeper issue and then move forward.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of these stats and kind of what we're talking about can be pretty difficult, right? And our chances are, even 2 out of 3 of our listeners might be in that situation, right? Where they're living paycheck to paycheck and trying to figure out, okay, how do I reach my goals whenever I'm feeling so discouraged every time that, I log into Facebook or Instagram, whatever it may be, right? So, if you've been listening to our show, you know that we're not about leaving you in that place, right? What we do all day, every day, and including, on the show is, try to provide education and make sure that our listeners have the tools to make better informed financial decisions. So, here's a few things, I guess, that to know if you feel negative, right, about your money, right? And the first thing is that you're not alone.
No,
right?
No, there are a lot of people struggling, but you also don't have to struggle alone. You're not hopeless. There are a lot of people that have had challenges in the past that overcome them. I mean, think of Dave Ramsey. Right. He went through bankruptcy and then recovered. That's a lot of hard work, but it can be done. And there are a lot of ways to get help, Mark. We talk about those all the time. So break some of those down for us.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of online tools right now, right? And with, the same technology, and the advances that have allowed us to be more connected, through things like social media, right? There's also been all of that effort put into creating these online tools, right, to improve financial wellness and education. So, if you scroll through YouTube or, you can find so many different tools out there. If you just Google, right, financial wellness, or, if you go on our website, getreadyforthefuture.com, right, you'll find so much information that can help in your journey to not just not feel shameful or ashamed or embarrassed or anything like that, but that actually helps you take steps forward to what you want. So online tools, there's also just community, right? Who in your life do you know that has or is in the place that you want to be, right? Because that is a huge just opportunity for you to be able to approach them, say, hey, I see, your success in this area. It's an area that I want to improve on. How can I get the help that I need? How can I take steps towards that? And then, that community can provide accountability, a lot of other resources like that. And obviously there's also professional help.
Yes. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and you've done some research and you realize that, man, I don't even know where to start, that's where a financial advisor can come along beside you and coach you through logical steps to take. I have found that when things are in a kind of checklist, it's easier for me to feel empowered to complete it because I'm only focusing on one thing at a time. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we provide. And the real solution here is you've got to increase your financial literacy. That's what this show is all about. That's what the Get Ready for the Future show is all about. We want to make sure that you have opportunities to grow your literacy so that things aren't as overwhelming.
Yeah. And then build a budget, right? Make sure that you are living below your means. That is always just a very, very much our our platform and something that we try to make sure that folks understand it in the message that we try to provide. Also, making sure to have accountability. We talked about that through community, and then just don't give up, right? Because we are all going to encounter difficulties. Even as financial advisors, we encounter financial difficulties.
Yes, I laugh because this past few months has just been hit after hit after hit for us as a family. We've had just a lot of repairs needed in our home, kids' soccer, kids starting school. It was just like bam, bam, bam. So our savings has been affected by that. And, we could just be like, well, forget it. We're never going to get that number back up. But we can't do that because we have to model good behavior for our children. So
That's right.
It's slow going, I'm not going to lie, but we're trying to build that back up little by little back to where it needed to be.
Ultimately, when you feel like giving up, reach out for help. Even give us a call,
Yes.
because we would be honored to be that call for you. So, Teresa, what are our 2 cents here?
How is social media affecting your day-to-day? If you feel down after scrolling, listen to your emotions and create some healthy boundaries to develop healthy relationships with social media.
Yeah. And listen, if you're on the other side, where you feel great about yourself and your situation, when you go through your socials, we are very, very, very happy for you. And we would also encourage you to pass on the good vibes by posting content that encourages others and makes them feel the same way that you do. So that's it for our show today. And tune in next week to learn what you don't know about money.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Sense podcast. And if you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get all the newest episodes.
The GenWealth team is available to you 24/7 at info@getreadyforthefuture.com or call our offices at 866-653-PLAN. That's 866-653-7526.
And while we like to have fun here, we're also financial advisors, and that means disclosures. You should personally consult a financial advisor before making any investment, and no strategy can assure success.
GenWealth Financial Advisors is an Arkansas registered investment advisor with securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.